how's it going, everybody? I am the Diginerdster, and today we'll be playing A Hand in the Darkness, or continuing A Hand in the Darkness. Yeah. Alright, let's see what the next day has in store for... I forget his name. The next day was extremely long and exhausting. I woke up very early, but the bathrooms were already taken, so I couldn't take a bath as I would have liked. I tagged along with Monty to the religious service, then to breakfast and the lessons. Every teacher seemed to be strict and serious, and after the never-ending lessons, I came to a sad conclusion. I was behind in almost every subject. Oh no. Well, how was your first day at St. Michael's? Well, now I can see the differences between my previous school and this one. The level here is way higher. Monty chuckled. But that was to be expected, wasn't it? Don't worry, Rick. Damian and I will help you to catch up For some reason I thought that said exactly. Easily. We have 2 spare hours until dinner. What would you like to do? A bit of time for myself. I mean, if we're behind, we need to study. Do you think Rick and Damian would like to start scheduling our study time? I was already rather afraid of not being able to follow the rhythm of the lessons and fail spectacularly with my grades. Monty shrugged and turned to the stairs. I can't speak for Damian, but I'm sure Rick will be up to it. Let's go to the study room. Hey Rick, are you going to the study room? Can we go with you? We could start planning our study time for this term. What do you think? Rick was standing there in the corridor, outside our bedroom and avoiding my eyes as usual. He looked a bit more comfortable around Monty though, not only looking at his face, but also allowing Monty to pat his shoulder without wincing. Oh, he finally speaks. Or did he already speak before? I don't think I have a voice for him. I wish, but the study room is already full. What? Those guys are seriously fast. How did they manage to reach the room so quickly, damn it? There's no other place to study? We can go to the library, but remember, we must be as quiet as possible, or the librarian will throw us out of the place and ban us from entering again. That doesn't fit, does it? Of course. Well, at least he spoke to me, I thought. Okay, so he hasn't spoken yet. Until then. Right. I followed them to the library. It was a nice and comfortable place. It reminded me a bit of my father's study, where I used to spend all my winter afternoons studying or reading. Rick explained to me in a great voice everything we had learned in class that day that I didn't understand. Okay. Gotta read the whole sentence sometimes, before you can say it right. Right? I must say, he was a really good teacher. It was way easier understanding him than understanding our teachers. The curious thing is that, once he started to focus on the school subjects, he forgot completely about his shyness, or whatever he had around me, and spent almost 2 hours leaning against my side to help me without being heard from the librarian's desk. We might look like 2 conspirators, speaking in whispers and throwing suspicious glances around us to check we weren't being overheard. Okay. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble. Monty sat in front of us, glancing all the time in our direction. Well, we're getting chummy, huh? He didn't seem very focused on his homework, to be honest, and most of the time he was just spacing out. At last, we looked again at the wall clock and stood up, pulling my arm and making me get up as well. Study time is over. You have monopolized Alex enough for today. Let's go to the dining hall already. Oh, someone's jealous. Rick looked confused and just glanced down while nodding. Sorry. Is that a better voice? Sorry. Or is that, what are you apologizing for? You have helped me a lot. I'm really grateful. I owe you one. He looked at me askance? Askance? And his cheeks tinted lightly. I couldn't help but chuckle. Rick got embarrassed so easily that was almost cute. Careful, your gay is showing. And Monty honestly thought Rick wasn't shy. Perhaps they weren't that close, even after sharing a room for years. Or maybe Rick is actually a player when it comes to guys and Monty wants us all to himself. Interrupting my thoughts, Monty wrapped an arm around my shoulder and pushed me towards the door. Shh! Remember, we can't speak loudly here. Let's go! And the three of us took our books back to our bedroom and then headed to the dining hall. We sat at what I now called in my mind our table. Okay. And it was on, not in, for some reason. I wonder where the hell Damian is hiding today. Well, it doesn't matter after all. It's usual for him to disappear for hours, and you better not ask him where he has been. What do you mean? Monty sighed, and Rick and he shared a pointed look. Rick pushed his glasses up to his nose, like so, and glanced to the opposite wall, apparently embarrassed. I don't know if I should tell you, but well, you're better off warned, aren't you? Warned about what? Damian adores breaking rules, so he is usually doing something that goes against the school norms. Right now, he is probably playing dice or poker and betting money on it. What? Really? Rick nodded. And there is the possibility that some of the teachers are in his poker game. I couldn't say a word, too shocked to form a coherent thought. And just then, right when the food plates were starting to be served, Damian appeared and sat in front of me. He reeked of cigarettes and alcohol and looked me over with a smirk. Oh no, he's not gonna drunkenly hit on us, is he? Our plates arrived, and I was glad to have something to do. Enduring Damian's stare was a bit too much for me. Say, Alex. Oh, no, that's not the voice I gave him. Say, Alex, I was wondering. Why did you transfer from your school to St. Michael's? There's just a year left before the university anyway. Oh, what? Before the university after... Huh? Ah, that. Wait a minute, isn't this just a bigger version of the CG we saw earlier? Well, okay. I knew they would eventually ask me about that. It's not that I was ashamed of my family background, but I feared they would think I didn't belong to St. Michael's and would be disappointed in me. My Uncle Edward, my father's younger brother, passed away 2 months ago. Since he didn't have children of his own, and my father was his favorite brother, not brother. My uncle left an amount of money for my education in his will. We weren't even close. It was a surprise to everyone. Everybody. But of course my parents were delighted and planned at once to send me to a good school to help me enter Oxford or Cambridge. So, your parents are not wealthy? No, my father is a lawyer, but he owns a really modest firm. He must be a crappy lawyer then. I mean, I guess lawyers aren't as good, or weren't as busy back then than they are today, maybe? I don't know. Huh, my father could buy your whole village if he wanted. Well, thanks for being a dick. Yeah. Sounds like something Kaiba would say. Maybe I should give him a Kaiba voice. Ignore him, Alex. Rick's father is a lawyer as well. I looked at Rick and Monty, relieved. And my family has a lot of money, but with so many relatives, I don't think it can aspire to be more than a good... What? I don't think I can aspire... Why am I having trouble? Aspire to get more than a good education from them. We are too many to share. I nodded. Hey, don't look offended. It was just a joke. I'm not so uptight to mind about those kind of things. Damian's father is an important politician, don't you know? I'm gonna try giving him a Kaiba voice and try to give the proper voice to Rick. For reasons. Yeah, and one day I'm going to be a diplomat. Next year, it'll be law in Oxford. And when I finish one term in Sandhurst, the military academy, and then hopefully a couple years in the colonies. I can't do the Kaiba voice without being sinister. For some reason. Sounds nice. Or maybe that's more Yami Bakura. I don't... Whatever! Damian looked at me as if I had insulted him. Sounds boring as hell. All our careers sound positively boring as well, you git. I'm not excited to get into the stock exchange, although working in the city seems good enough. Hey, at least you will be in London and not a foreign shithole, being eaten alive by mosquitoes or worse things. Aren't mosquitoes, like, native to everywhere? And you, Rick, what are you going to study? Rick shrugged, pulling a face. He's going to be a lawyer, of course, like his father. Not that I like it, but there's no other option. And you, Alex? Yes, tell us, have you chosen yet? I glanced to my half-empty plate, embarrassed to be the focus of their attention. Attention, not intention. All three of them looked at me intently. Okay, I guess. And I felt really uninteresting and dull all of a sudden. I haven't decided yet. My parents want me to study law or medicine, but I'd rather study something like history. Damian chuckled. That's for poor bookworms who end their lives as school teachers. Is that what you want? What I wanted right now was to hide under the table. Well, if you hid underneath the table, I guess you could make yourself useful, if you know what I'm saying. God damn it. I still don't know. I've told you. Well, whatever. And he stood from the table. I mean, he is a smoker, so I guess giving him this gruff, edgy voice might work. We followed suit since we had already finished our meal. I think it's alright, as long as you choose something you enjoy doing. Yeah. Oh wait, a little deeper. Yeah, I wish I could choose. I would study history over law any damn time of the day. Shouldn't you say any day of the week? Whatever. I felt slightly better. I was surprised that even in that stern environment, I had found mates who would support me, no matter how wealthy my family was or my future choices. When we were walking out the dining hall, a guy from my class stopped me. Hey! You are the new one, right? They have told me to tell you there's a parcel for you, so you must go see Wilson right now and get it. A parcel? Ah, thank you. You are getting a parcel from home already? I bet it's food. A house-made cake. Most likely cookies, since cookies don't, get squished. Nah, knowing my mother, it must be more winter clothes. I'll go to the hall to pick it up. Do you want me to go with you? Oh, thank you, no need for that. Okay, but think of me if it's a cake, will you? You mean to share the cake, or the... Do you want to be eaten like a cake? I'm sorry, I spent so much time on the internet that I'm pretty sure that's an actual fetish. I grinned and waved goodbye to Monty and Rick. Damian had already scurried away. Screw the rules, I'm a badass. Or delinquent, more like it. I could more or less remember how to get from the dining hall to the housemaker's office. Master, not maker. I was a bit worried, because the corridors were completely empty by then. Everybody seemed to leave for the study rooms or their bedrooms after dinner. And I definitely didn't want to get lost. Oh, spooky time. I took the main stairs, glad to remember they were there. Where they were. The stairs were high, and the stairs were long, and made a curve, so one had to mind their step while climbing down. What's with this? This sounds like platformer music. What's... This is not fitting of the 1910s. I should read. Suddenly, I felt a push on my back, as if I had bumped into another student. Was I so focused on the stairs that I hadn't noticed whoever was going down? I lost my footing, and the ground was level with my face. In a snap, I tried to regain my balance, reaching for the railing, but had no success. Starting to panic, I saw how the railing slipped from my fingertips, and I kept falling down the stairs. I tried again to reach for something, anything that could stop my fall, but my body kept spinning down the stairs. I was too shocked and frightened to feel my pain, but my head and limbs kept bumping against the hard planes and angles of the stone stairs. Then I bumped again. Oh, against something soft for a change, and I stopped tumbling. Disoriented, I felt two arms around me, and I realized I was lying on the floor. Hold up. Ugh. Gas always strikes me at the worst time. I was fine earlier, watching cartoons. And I realized I was lying on the floor, in the middle of the endless stairs, half on top of another student. You have a knack for getting lost, don't you? Damian! When I could focus my sight, I saw Damian's face barely inches from mine, and I noticed that I had run over him. His hands were holding me to avoid falling down again. Embarrassed, I tried to move my position on top of him. I'm sorry. Damian laughed, amused. I wouldn't mind, had I not a bloody step digging against my back. I got up and leapt and helped him to his feet. Are you all right? It's me who should ask. You look all battered. Yes, thank you for stopping my fall. The two of us looked stairs down? Oh, okay. There was still a flight of stairs until the ground level. I looked upstairs and I saw I had fallen 2 flights. No wonder everything hurt. As soon as my left foot touched the ground, the pain traveled up my leg until it reached my spine. Damian threw me a concerned look. Can you move that foot? Is it the ankle? I think it might be sprained. Let's hope it's not broken. You could have broken some bones with that fall, you know. Or more than some bones. You really are lucky. I hadn't thought about it, but when he said it, yes, I was lucky to have just sprained an ankle. Damian helped me reach the feet of the stairs, then we headed to the housemaster's office in the hall. Wilson was horrified seeing me half carried by Damian. What happened, boy? Did he touch you? It's just your second day here, damn it! I know, I'm sorry. I bumped against someone at the main stairs and fell down. You bumped against someone? Who was it? I'll break their fucking necks! I shrugged. I couldn't see. He could have gone downstairs with you to help, couldn't he? Yeah, that would have been the sensible thing to do in this situation. You are supposed to be a gentleman, damn it! Perhaps he didn't notice, I don't know, or he was frightened. I felt embarrassed enough, and I wanted to drop the subject. I sat down in the housemaster's office, and Wilson put me an anti-inflammatory cream and bandaged my ankle. So he's the housemaster and the nurse? Damian stood by my side to help me walk back to our dorm afterwards. Now that I think about it, in fact I was coming here to pick up a parcel. My parcel, whatever. Wilson threw me an odd look. What parcel? We haven't received anything yet. But a guy from my classroom told me you had a parcel for me. Damian frowned. Well, I can assure you there isn't any parcel. You can look around if you want, see? All right, maybe they heard it wrong. I didn't know what to think, honestly. They wanted to push you down the stairs, for some reason. I don't know, 'cause you're poor? He's poor. Let's push him down the stairs for giggles. We're rich. My father can buy your father. We found Monty and Rick at the door of our shared bedroom. Monty opened his eyes wide, as saucers, when he saw me limping towards them, holding myself on Damian's shoulder. What the hell? What happened? And the parcel? Well, it turns out there was a mistake, and there wasn't any parcel, and on top of that, I fell on the stairs. How could you fall down? Did you slip? Damian helped me sit down on my bed. Hold up. Trying to get the voice back. He says another boy bumped against him and made him fall, but he didn't see who he was. What? What the hell were they thinking? You could have broken your neck, you know. The steps on the main stairs are very high. 420 blaze it, bitch. I know. I was lucky it was just a sprained ankle. Has Wilson called the doctor? There's no need. I can move my ankle so it's not broken, see? But I mean, if you fractured it, it could break on its own if you strained it. You know, modern medicine, I think that's how that works. I don't know, I'm not a doctor. Damn it, I'm a YouTuber, not a doctor. I moved my ankle in careful, slow circles. They showed him. It hurt, but it wasn't as painful as before. As long as I don't put all my weight on my left foot, it'll be okay. If you say so. We were going to the bathroom. Do you want me to help you? Undress? Shower you? I hadn't thought about it. Oh, wait, what? I hadn't thought of that. How embarrassing. But after the endless day, I really did need a bath, so I would have to swallow my pride and let them help me. Damian took the things he needed for his bath and left while I was still hesitating. Come on, Alex. Grab your pajamas and towel and stuff. I bet there's already a mile-long queue for the bathroom. In the end, Rick went ahead to queue for the three of us, while Monty helped me pick up the things I needed for the bathroom. Some of the other boys had pity on me and left us jump ahead in the queue. But we still have to wait in the corridor for half an hour. When it was almost my turn, I suddenly heard someone bickering loudly, and I recognized Damian's voice at once. I turned the corner, and there, in front of the two open bedrooms, why am I messing up so much today? It wasn't as bad last time. I don't know, probably need some coffee or something. Damian was grabbing the front of the shirt of the classmate who told me to go to the housemaster earlier. Damian was scary. He was smirking and showing his teeth, threatening mere inches from the other boy's face. He was almost lifting the guy from the ground. Did you think it would be funny, playing a prank on the new kid, huh? I'm telling you, one of the servants told me to pass him the word. I don't know anything about the prank. As if, tell whoever is behind this, that the kid is in my bedroom, so I am the only one who has the right to play pranks on him if I wish. Besides, what would you have done if he had ended up seriously injured, huh? The poor guy was starting to sob by then. I stepped forward, jumping on my good foot, to stop the nonsense. Damian, stop it already! Come on! Damian looked at me through squinted eyes and then gave a last wiggle to the guy. Will you remember then? Do I have your word? The kid is mine, so you leave him alone! Oh. My. Possessive much, huh? I mean, I appreciate it, but... He let go of the boy, and he ran to his bedroom screaming. All the people around us, mostly my classmates, started staring at me with curiosity. Well, now they think we're his bitch. Embarrassed, I approached Damian. That was unnecessary. Do you really think it was a prank? Damian shrugged and started walking, giving me his back. There's always the possibility. I jumped behind him, annoyed. Well, you could have just told me, and I would have talked with the guy. Sure. We arrived to where Rick and Monty were waiting for me. Watching the whole scene with surprise, I stopped by then, but Damian kept on walking. And don't refer to me as kid again. We are the same age. Damian chuckled and turned to look at me. You are just a little bird, barely leaving the nest. And turning around again, he reached the stairs and left. That was oddly poetic for some delinquent. The weeks went by really slowly. I spent almost all my spare time trying to catch up on the daily homework, but I was still worrying behind in some subjects. Oh, worryingly, not worrying. I don't know. Also, is it me or did they just put filters over real pictures? I'm joking, of course. I'm enjoying this most so far. If I would stop tripping over my anguish. There are already essays to be written, upcoming midterms, exams, and group projects. Rick had distributed the tasks for the projects and had prepared a surprisingly detailed schedule for the whole term. I was amazed at his organizational skills. Honestly, I had never met someone so clever and with such a tidy mind in my whole life. But I hadn't had any spare time to ask him to help me with the subjects I was more behind on, and I was a bit ashamed of asking anyway. I don't want to bother him. The good news was that by the end of the week, my ankle was much better, and I could already walk without help. That is, limping, of course. It had been really embarrassing to have Monty accompany me to the classroom, the dining hall, and everywhere for the whole week. And also helping me to dress and undress in the mornings and eat. I had drawn the line at helping me in the bath. However helpful he was, I closed myself in the bathroom every time and didn't allowed him to help. So I was glad I didn't have to rely on him anymore, no matter how happy he was to help me. God damn it, no shower scene? Sunday arrived, and with my first free day in St. Michael's. I don't want to spend a day at my cousin's Gary's. I chuckled. Monty had been complaining since he woke up. Do they live near here? Half an hour by car. My parents are picking me up in 10 minutes, and will bring me back in the evening. I'd rather spend the Sunday here with you. Wow, he is really coming in strong. I said coming in instead of coming on. Either is lewd if you think about it. Well, my ankle is way better, and I'm sure you'll have fun with your family. I would be glad to go out from this building too, but my village... Oh my gosh. I would be glad to go out from this building too. That's not proper English, I don't think. But who am I to judge, because I'm just tripping over every word. But my village is a good 3 hours train ride from here. Monty sighed. Rick and Damian were staying in the school as well, so I suppose he felt a little left aside. Yeah. What are you doing today? I don't know. I should study, and I also promised to write home, not homework. What? I shrugged, still undecided. Okay then, see you at supper time. It's Sunday, it's our free day. This is a Catholic school, so they expect you to take a day of rest, right? Let's go to the gardens. I started the day writing a letter from my parents, playing Down the Stairs Fall, of course. But after the task was done, I found myself staring out the window. The morning was sunny and the garden looked beautiful and alluring. So I decided my books could wait until the afternoon, and I went for a walk outside. The garden was actually just at the entrance to of the school. Why'd I say two? Quaint, but not very large, but in the rear grounds of the school, there was a woods. I decided to head to that place. There's horror elements in this game. I don't think going to the woods alone is a good idea. What have I done? I followed the dirt path between the trees. The air was quiet, and the trees had a nice range of ochre tones. A week ago, it was still summer, but autumn was starting to show everywhere. I walked along the path until my ankle started to bother me, and then I entered the foliage and sat under a tree. The silence was relaxing. I do like taking little strolls in woods, even if it's just a park. I don't know. Trees are so... I don't know, something's relaxing about the forest sometimes, Even if everything in it might want to kill you. I was glad to have decided to go out. I had been so busy and stressed by the lessons and the novelties in my life that I hadn't noticed that I had been shut down inside our walls almost a whole week. So it was nice to sit down there, over the tree leaves, spacing out and hearing only the birds singing. All right, not only the birds. I sighed as soon as I heard some voices of the other side of the dense group of trees. At the other side of the... Of course, it was impossible that I was the only one who caught the thought of caught the thought of God damn it. Sorry. Of course, it was impossible that I was the only one who thought of coming there. Why did I think that everybody would be either playing cricket or studying indoors? 'Cause they're a bunch of rich bastards who don't appreciate the small things in life? In life, not rife. I didn't feel like standing up and leaving, so I peered between the trees to see if I recognized who it was. Perhaps they would leave soon. Oh, that was... Damian. Well, I figured the nerd would... I figured Rick would be in the study. And he was not alone. Was that a girl with him? Oh yes, those giggles were unmistakable. It could be a trap. Damian was leaning against a tree, smoking a cigarette. Well, the fact that he was smoking wasn't any shocking news by that point. What were they doing? I squinted my eyes to try to distinguish what was going on. The girl tiptoed and kissed Damian on the mouth, hooking her arms around his neck. Damian threw a cigarette and kissed her back, and then he lowered his hand to raise her skirt, leaving his hand somewhere inside her clothes, where I couldn't see it. God damn it! Why did I see that coming? A twig creaked under my foot. He's probably going to approach us like, "You like to watch, huh?" I cursed in my head, although light, the creak sounded clear and loud in the silent woods. The girl instantly turned in my direction, saw my silhouette, and started running away from the path. Why, you two were making out? Don't tell me that people back then were prudes, 'cause, believe me, rich people back then had a lot of sex, okay? And they weren't... God, if you see the first couple pictures, when the camera was first invented, not only did they do porn, but very silly porn. I crawled backwards, frightened, covering my mouth with my hand, certain that Damian would hear my breathing. My blood was pulsing loudly against my temples, and all of a sudden I felt as if I was being as loud as an elephant. Damian turned to look in my direction, clearly furious. Fantastic! You have scared her away! You could have just said, fantastic, you scared her away. But whatever. And who's that, by the way? I tried to turn and run away, but my back bumped against a tall bush. Damian advanced some steps in my direction. I didn't think he could see my face through the trees, but he suddenly smiled knowingly. Is that you, little bird? Tisk! And he started walking after his girlfriend. Oh, okay. He wasn't mad at me then. Oh, he wasn't mad at me then? I didn't know if I should feel relieved or not. Also, did some Starscream come out during there? Little bird. No, I'm just watching too much Transformer Prime again. Suddenly going back to the school and watching the cricket what? Why is my head so cloudy today? Yeah. Suddenly going back to the school and watching the cricket match watching a cricket match started to seem like a great idea. Cricket? I don't know. In the end, I spent all the day with some of my schoolmates that had stayed at the school. I watched the cricket match, had lunch, studied a bit in the library with them, and then in the afternoon I decided to go for a walk by the woods again. A bit of fresh air before dinner time would be great after the closed space of the library. Yeah. And I wouldn't have the bad luck of bumping against Damian and his girlfriend twice in a day, would I? No, now we are going to see him fucking her. The sun was already getting behind the mountains, at the other side of the town. What? The light, I thought we were at school. And the light was golden and peach-colored between the leaves of the trees. The weather was still warm, and it felt nice to walk through the peaceful woods. I still limped, of course, but I decided a short walk wouldn't hurt my ankle. I wasn't going to overexert it after all. Not unless a bear comes after us or a mountain lion. No, this is England, so there's no mountain lions. I followed the dirt path until its end. The path finished at the metal fence, while the woods kept going out at the other side for some miles more, until it reached the main road, and... I am apologizing. This is a very awkward session for me for some reason. Until it reached the main road and ran through the Shire. And that's not it. What? I was trying to do the Lord of the... The shadows of the trees started to stretch on the ground, and the air was growing colder, so I thought it was a good moment to come back to the school. Dinner time would be soon anyway. I turned back and limped through the path, trying to keep a good rhythm. Afterwards, when I remembered that moment, I swear I could only hear the birds and the autumn breeze among the leaves. But there was clearly something else in that wood, or better said, someone else. Suddenly I fell down on the ground. A blurry shadow jumped on me, making me stay with my back glued to the hard dirt of the path. Again, this music! You're trying... This is not appropriate for spooks. This is... I pushed and tripped to wiggle out of their hold, but the attacker was bigger and stronger than me. Damian. Who the hell was that? My heart started to race when I saw my attacker's face covered in a mask. It was one of those Vendian masks that some people used in masquerade balls, dark brown with short pheasant feathers on one side. It covered the man's face, because at least I could see that he was definitely male, to the top of his mouth, so I could only see his square chin and his thin lips. Was it still a prank? I couldn't recognize any of my classmates under the mask, but it entered the realm of possibility. But he was strong. He was holding my two wrists under just one of his huge hands. Oh, okay, so it's not Damian. I was almost achieving slipping away from under his weight, but then a punch to my jaw with his spare hand made my head spin. Made me head spin. Although I stopped struggling just for a moment, when I focused my sight again, there was something metallic in the corner of my eye. A knife? I started yelling at once, realizing all my struggle was useless against my opponent, and started to feel real frightened. I tried to free my arms with all my might, but it was all for Nye. My legs, too, were immobilized under his weight. I couldn't land a single kick, no matter how much I tried. The wubs! The metallic glint moved up, over the man's head, and then I could see it clearly. It was a knife, yes, a big, sharp-edged butcher knife. And the man had raised it with the intention of burying it in my body. Panicking, I kept on yelling, wriggling, and kicking the air. I felt completely helpless. My ears didn't even register the sound of leaves being stomped on, and the rustle of clothes when someone grabbed the back of the man's jacket and pushed him to the ground. Still in shock, I breathed slowly. Alex, are you okay? Did he hurt you? I expected Damian. Oh, so... wouldn't this have been a good scene to give a CG to? The attacker didn't waste a moment and pushed himself up and started running away, really fast. Two of my classmates ran after him, while Monty stayed by my side, watching me with wide-eyed concern. Take my hand. Can you stand? I let him help me back to my feet. I was still breathless, and I felt a sob trying to escape through my throat. I closed my eyes and pushed it down. I wasn't going to cry. I was strong. I wasn't a kid anymore. It's okay to cry. Goddamn culture trying to tell the people that... Nah! Shh. It's all right. The next thing I felt were his arms around my torso and his familiar scent wrapped around me. Okay, that's intimate. Relieved, I basked in the feeling of being safe and warm, although I managed to keep my eyes dry. And we feel safe and warm in his arms, huh? Not that it was easy, though. The temptation of crying out of nerves was great. But it was my friend who was hugging me, not my mother, so my pride got the best of me, and I pushed him gently after a moment. Thank you, Monty. What did you see? Well, I was at the fence entering the school, where I met Ed and Millard, and then we heard your shout. We ran here as fast as we could and saw that guy on top of you with a knife in his hand. What the hell, Alex? What's going on? I swear I haven't the slightest idea. Our 2 classmates came back running out of breath. Sorry, it was faster than us. Oh no, don't tell me he escaped. You're kids. Teenagers, but still. Well, I guess they'd be adults by today's standard. I mean, by back then standard. Meh. I'm really sorry. We couldn't catch him. Did he escape through the main door? No, he jumped over the fence. We reached the door and kept running through the woods. We followed him, but he was very fast and we lost sight of him. What a disgrace! But come on, Alex. We must inform the head teacher at once. I nodded and limped back to the school, supporting part of my body on Monty's arm. I was a bit nervous to go bother the head teacher in his room on Sunday evening, but I guess it couldn't be helped. Of course he had to be informed if a masked man attacked one of his pupils inside the school. He made us a pass into the small sitting room, cozy and comfortable, and offered us a tea. A single tea. The sight of my shaking hands, limping foot, and the state of my poor uniform sure gave him a fright, and told him something bad had happened. Monty helped me to explain the events, and the head teacher listened to us in silence, frowning. So that man jumped the fence into the woods, attacked you, ran away through the same place he had entered, right? Well, I didn't see him until I had him already on top of me, so I don't know if he came through the fence or not. The main door to the school grounds was closed until this group of boys arrived. How many of you were there, boy? We were about 10, I should say. 3 of my class, counting myself, and a bunch of younger students. Did you see someone suspicious around the door? No, but there were parents, and also some coachmen bringing the students back. The head teacher waved away that thought. We are not starting to suspect our students' fathers and coachmen, are we? Well, it's a possibility. There's some sort of cult, isn't there? The facts are clear. The masked man jumped over the fence and entered the school through the wood to avoid being seen, with the unfortunate Mr. White here, who was in his way. It was obviously a burglar. I will call the police right now. With luck, they will catch him while he was still hiding in town. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure burglars don't go out of their way to kill someone if their intent is to just steal. I mean, we didn't see him. He pounced on us. Pretty sure he wanted to kill us. Probably sacrifice us. Go to the dining hall, young men, and have the footmen clean that uniform for tomorrow, Mr. White. I nodded. My poor trousers were dirty with mud and dry leaves. Monty and I went back to our bedroom just to wash ourselves a bit. I brushed my trousers the best I could and asked the footman if I could give them to him after dinner to clean. He accepted in exchange for a tip, of course. I sighed relieved. My pocket money was scarce, but at least it would be well spent. Alex, what happened? Rick appeared at the door and looked at me from head to toe, startled. I realized that even though my uniform looked way better than before, I still had mud and leaves in my hair, and my shoes were a disaster. Monty came to help me, as always, and explained to Rick all about the masked burglar. Not a burglar. Rick kept looking at me intently. When Monty finished his story, Rick came closer to me and inspected my wrists. Your wrists are bruised, not bluesed. It's nothing. It doesn't hurt. You've had a rough week. First the fall in the stairs, and now this. Exactly. I suppose you don't think this is a coincidence, do you? I frowned, confused. What do you mean? Both things are not related. Think about it for a moment. First some unknown student accidentally pushes you down the long, high set of stairs, and now another unknown person attacks you with a knife. It was a burglar. Why would anyone attack me on purpose? What are you implying? Are you sure there isn't any reason for someone to go after you? be ridiculous. It is Alex we are talking about. If it was Damian, perhaps someone would have grudge over him, but Alex? I reckon you are right. Our other roommate, Damian, walked in that very moment, smirking as always. Where were you? I told Millard to look for you, but he couldn't find you. Damian took a bunch of wrinkled banknotes from his the inner pockets of his jacket. Meh. There were £1 notes, and also £5 ones. I guess he had at least £20 just there. That was quite a lot for these times. Are you talking to us from the past? I was busy earning a bonus for my allowance. You know, it's always nice to have a bit of pocket money. Monty groaned and covered his face with his hands, while Rick and I shared an uneasy look. I don't want to know how you won all that money. If the teachers find out, I don't want to get involved at all. Damian chuckled and put away the notes carelessly in a drawer. Oh, don't worry about that. They already know. In fact, I guess they are expecting a rematch next Sunday to try to win back all the money they must have lost today. Monty groaned louder and shook his head in disbelief. You will never change, will you? You must teach me how to be so good at poker one of these days. No, wait. You must teach me how to be good at poker one of these days. Rick's comment surprised the three of us, and I ended up giggling with Damian over it. What? I swear I wouldn't use that knowledge in the school, but you never know when it can come in handy. Damian patted his back, grinning, and seemed about to leave again for the dining hall when he noticed that the way I looked. Hey, what's wrong? Something happened? You fell down again, little bird? And between the three of us, we told him about the events that transpired in the woods. Damian sat down in silence for a moment, frowning. Mates, I agree with Rick. This is not a coincidence. My voice is hurting. Why? Why would someone attack me? We don't know. But perhaps you could do some research, don't you think? Well, if you two agree, it means there's a chance that it's true. I'll get going to the dining hall. Playing poker always makes me hungry. See you there. Oh no, it's a yell. See you there. And he left without waiting for us, as always. Monty sighed. Okay, what about brushing your hair a bit to take off all that mud and leaves, and then going to have dinner? I nodded. I didn't notice before, but I was starving. So that was what we did. I asked him to leave the topic of my attack until the next morning. Since I was already too anxious, I really needed to relax and rest up for the evening. Okay, next morning. Well, I'm sorry that I was so awkward. I was tripping over way too many words and too much gurgling. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this here. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!